Hey everybody, back for a special video. I usually don't do video overview of my blog posts, but this one I believe is so important in this day and age, in this time. It's so germane and imminent that I'm going to go ahead and go through the whole post in about 5 to 7 minutes here. So I'm going to go through all the same questions that we answer in the article, but just here in this video. So let's start out with the roots of fear. I find it fascinating that when we go into a new situation, it is imbued with fear. So that is to say, any new situation, we are already scared. We actually learn security. I think it's important to keep this in mind as we're going out and exploring in the world. This can help us have more confidence and face what we fear. Now, we also see the world through a mentally constructed lens. That's to say, we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as our brain constructs it. So, if we're naturally afraid of the world and we misperceive the world, it's very easy for us to become afraid of things that we really shouldn't be afraid of. And that leads us to our next point with what is fear. Fear is when we perceive something through this mental construct as an imminent threat to us. We're scared. We're scared of some bodily harm, some physical damage. And we can move right along to our next question, which is what causes this fear? Now, we really become afraid when the threat is imminent, but also when we feel powerless. So, if we are in control by a powerful person, or if we are faced with the unknown, or we're locked up and we can't control the situation, or worst case, we are sick in a hospital and we just don't want it to go on, those are extremely fearful situations. The lack of control is something that we have to reckon with. Now, when do we feel this fear? We feel it when we believe the threat is imminent, and we also, I think, need to realize that we don't feel it when we have come from a history of prosperity. Now, I think this is key right now because we've had such a history of prosperity in this country that people aren't feeling fear. I mean, we haven't, as a nation, faced war, faced any real genocide, any mass disease, but this is the first time. So it makes sense to me that panic is going to be much more because our calibration is off. Our mental model of the world is easy life. We haven't really struggled. We haven't faced hardship. Not in my lifetime, and I think not in even several years since after I was born, or before I was born, I guess that'd be the proper term. But anyways, we face that now, and I think that is why we are panicking more than we should. Now, this is a great lead-in to the next question. When is fear detrimental? Fear is detrimental when it becomes panicked, uncontrolled, ungrounded, unbridled, when it's not based in reality. Now, we tend to really blow this out of proportion when we see something coming toward us, but it is actually not a threat yet. And when we see it through media and not as an actual physical sight. So that means we're not seeing the threat in our proximity, but we're able to read it, and then our mind can project into that mental model and blow things just way out of proportion. And it's really a matter of concentration, because don't get me wrong, bad things happen in the world. People get killed, shot, there's car accidents, all of that. But if you look at the entire population, it is very low when it comes to statistics. So the threat to us is not very high. Now, how can we overcome fear? First, looking at data, looking at scientific facts, realizing that our brain, when something is very unlikely, our brain says, oh, it's almost certain. And also realizing the opposite is true. When something is almost impossible, our brain's like, no, it's certain. It's pretty well certain. I learned that from Daniel Kahneman, a psychologist who wrote Thinking Fast and Slow. Fantastic read. Now, we can also overcome it by looking at what we fear, examining it. Why does it give us fear? Just spending time with it, contemplating. What if that happened? Okay, so what? Then I think if we spend the time looking at them, it almost normalizes us. What is the word I'm looking for? Really, it allows us to become conditioned, used to those things, and no longer fear them. And learning to make small changes to build our confidence, to take little steps, overcome small challenges, will build our confidence, and then we can face our fears. And when we build the confidence and the mental toughness, we can also learn to control the fears actively. Now, how can we use fear to our advantage? Fear can be a driver. It can push us toward our goals. It can help us to survive. And if we can moderate it, it can help us to thrive. But we also have to be careful not to let it become unbridled and ungrounded. That will take us down. And we can also tag on hope. So if we're fearful now, we can be hopeful that in the future things will be better, and that by having fear now, we can preserve ourselves for that hopeful future. Now in the end, it is up to each and every one of us not to allow ourselves to be controlled by fear. As Viktor Frankl said, one of the last human freedoms is our ability to choose our attitude toward a situation. That's our choice. We have to remember that. We must live our lives and face threats when they rear their heads to us directly. Yeah, if a guy comes into my house, he has a gun, that's an imminent threat. I have to deal with that. And if I've gone through that scenario in my head, I've had that training, maybe even put myself into training scenarios to get used to it, then I will act accordingly, and the threat will be neutralized. So no problem. It's all about training and preparation. And in the end, we'll all lose our lives. If we realize that, then what else do we have to fear? I'm not saying wish death upon ourselves or anybody, but contemplate that. Someday, it's going to be our day. Maybe today. Why are we to think that it's not? Rough thought for many people, but an important one. So I hope you guys enjoyed reading the article. If you didn't read it, get on over there, have a read through. Please leave a comment. Would love to hear what you think. Leave a comment here on YouTube as well. Would love to engage with you guys and really understand what you're thinking about my content, if you like it, if I'm just boring, or if this is something that's really helping you all, especially now that you're sitting at home on your couch, and hopefully YouTube still works tomorrow because of all of this streaming. So, hope you guys live in a little bit less fear. You take care, you stay safe, and tune in next week.